Hi, everybody. It's Jen Henriksen with Cruise Planners. And today I'm going to show you how to log into princess.com when you have a booking with them to get yourself all set up online with the supplier. So let me share my screen with you. First thing I'm going to show you is on your confirmation form where you can find your booking number. Everything is going to run off that booking number. So if it was an email you received, it'll be in the subject line most likely, but right underneath the princess icon in the upper left-hand corner of your confirmation, you'll find your booking number. When you go to princess.com, this is the screen that you're going to be seeing, and everything you need is on princess.com. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into booked guests, and you can click on access cruise personalizer. Really, any of these will get you there because you're all going to log in the same way. But it's going to bring you to this screen here, and this is the sign in for it. So you're going to type in the name of the person, which is going to be you, and their all of their birth information, everything. I'm going to use my daughter as an example here. Hope I get her birthday right. Here we go. And then that booking number that we found on the confirmation form. Now, when you first log in, this screen's going to pop up. And remember that this is a contract between you and the cruise line. Whether you book it through a travel agency, it doesn't matter how you book it, the contract is between you and the cruise line. So it is super important that you read through these details. What we see on the travel trade side, the industry side of the business, is that a lot of people do not read the contracts. And then when something happens or whatever, the questions are usually about something related to their contract. So they can change these, they notify you, but again, it's important that you read through the basics of the contract. And again, a lot of it is not, scary stuff. It's just informative stuff, like smoking is no longer permitted. So, things like that, it's worth you reading it. So once you read it and you're able to get through everything, you're just going to click continue and it will open up an entire screen to you. Now, this screen that comes up, this is where I was telling you, it has everything that you need on it, okay? Your summary page, which is, all the details of whatever's going to be happening. But right here is the important information that you want. You want to download the Medallion Class app, because once you're on board the ship, everything will happen through that app. Okay, so this is the information on how you download it, and it is directly connected to your profile with Princess, same as if we're logging in on princess.com. Okay, so here you have it. And then when you once you're logged in, scroll back up here. It's automatically telling you some ideas about airfare. We'll get to that in just a minute. We're going to go to the check-in tab. You're going to be able to see all the details about when you are ready to check in. It'll give all of that information right here. And you can start that process. You just need to type in information, make sure it's all on file, that sort of thing. Excursions. Remember that we talk about how on your My Trips profile with our agency, you're going to see all of the excursions that we've loaded for you from a third-party company that we work with. Shore Excursions Group, love them, but they're a third-party company. When you click on excursions through princess.com, everything that comes up here are princess-only excursions, okay? They're listed, they're tied to your booking, so they're listed by where you're gonna be on which day. And whenever you click on them, it's gonna show you the different things that you could get as excursions on that day or in that place, okay? Everything you need to know is here. Everything you need to know. So as you scroll down, this is when we're in Denali, it's going to give you all of the different options and the prices and the details of them. Worth looking at, and worth looking again at the one on your My Trips app. Do your homework on excursions. Excursions are usually a little pricey because you can do several of them in the times that you're there. So it's worth you looking through. When you click on it, and you see what it is that you'd be doing on that trip, all of the details will come up, and also the information on how to book it. There we go. Who do you want to book it? If you're able to book it, this one's not available to you, that sort of thing. Easy for you to be able to do it. Let's see, I want to show you about the wish list. I'm going to back up here one screen. right here. So on all of these, if you're looking at it, and remember, we're months and months away, right? But if you're just curious about it and you just put one up, click on the wish list, this is going to move this all the way to the top of excursions. Go back to excursions here, and you're going to see your wish list right here. That way you can put together your ones that you think you're interested in and put them on or take them off your wish list. Okay. All right, so it's important that you read about the details about excursions and what happens when you go on an excursion. Are they refundable? Are you when do you have to cancel them by? All of that information again is in that contract between you and Princess. And I just found it here earlier. Let me see if I can find it for you again. Well, let's just cut through one of these and see if we can get there. You're looking for terms and conditions for excursions. Let's see if we find it here. Cancellation policy. See it right here? So we're going to click on that, and it's going to bring up, again, all of the information pertaining to excursions, everything you need to know. Very well worth it. Okay, for you to read through and make sure that you don't lose your money. With Princess excursions, remember, usually travel agents aren't able to service Princess excursions. That's a separate thing. So we basically show you how to do it, and it's all on you to take care of those excursions. The shore excursions group, the ones that we do through the My Trips profile, that is a third party company. So we do contract with them, and we are able to service those bookings for you. I know it can be confusing, so just keep it in the back of your mind. I'm going to back up now onto the excursions page. You get the basic idea of what it is that you can do with your excursions. Now, onboard services, this is very interesting because it's going to show you all of the different things that you can find here. And you might say, now, is that on my booking or it's not on my booking? Just keep scrolling down and you're going to be able to see all of the different things that are already on your booking. Okay, this is the Wi-Fi package, the premier beverage package. If you see multiples, that's how many people are in the cabin that have it. Location upgrade if available, which a lot of you guys that booked on our Alaska group already have that location upgrade as part of the package. And then again, a specialty dining, if there's one included, you'll see it on the booking there. Okay. Remember, if you booked late, if there was a promotion that wasn't going on, that wasn't included. That's why sometimes it might be different than someone else's, but you're always able to look at it right here under view purchases. Even though you didn't purchase it per se, go in and purchase it. It was originally there when we did your booking for you. Now, dining, this is a great feature on princess.com to look at, but the dining reservations have moved to the Medallion app. This right here is the Medallion. It's actually a medallion that you can wear on your wrist, you can pin to your shirt, or you can wear it sort of as a necklace. And it's basically that homing beacon that you wear when you're on the ship. It helps people find you. You'll be able to log on to the princess.com app and find me anywhere on the ship as your trip leader. So it's really pretty incredible what they're doing with this technology. And it saves you a bunch of time. One of the biggest ones that people love is being able to open their door automatically when they walk up to their stateroom. But other things, like if you wanted to, get a strawberry daiquiri for your wife that's sitting by the pool, they'll know exactly where she is and they'll be able to bring it right to her. So just some cool things on the Medallion class app. On the Medallion, but you have to access it through the app. So again, make sure that you download that one, and we'll do a separate recording on how to work your way through there. The dining, I like this page because it's going to explain to you all the different options on that ship for dining. Okay, how the specialty dining works, where are they? It's worth looking through this, you guys. You could see that we have a specialty dining on ours. It's good to know about them ahead of time. And one thing I want to point out to you, we'll talk about this later in our pre-trip classes, if you're booked with us, but the Lumiere is one of the specialty dinings that I highly recommend. Highly, highly recommend. It's one of those really cool virtual reality kind of experiences. And I'll show you a video of it when we get into class, but well worth it. So if you can make that reservation when it opens, that might be a great idea. Remember that specialty dining, the way cruises work today is that not everything on the ship is included in the cost. A lot of times the more upscale restaurants carry a service fee, and sometimes it could be $50, $75 per person. So just be paying attention with the specialty dining. And remember, you're not missing anything. If dining is important to you, do the specialty dining. If dining really isn't important to you and excursions are, do the excursions. All the other restaurants that are included on the ship are wonderful restaurants. It's just a different, a different style and a different format. And you can still do the formal dining room, which still has steak and still has amazing food. The specialty dining is just for the foodies that really want that more upscale, reserved experience, Now, I'm going to skip over travel just for a minute, and I'm going to go to itinerary. And this is a detailed itinerary, way more than what you're going to see on your confirmation that comes from Princess that I email you. This is well worth reading. And anytime you see a plus, I want you to click on it. So this is going to give you all of the information about transfers, luggage information, what's included in that city. And I think in the my first pre-trip class 1 for Alaska land, I told you guys for the 12-day that there was like a trolley tour included. There is not, but there is a trolley tour in town. And I would recommend, it's not very expensive, but it's a great overview tour of Anchorage. So well worth it if you get a chance to take that, if you fly in early enough. I know a lot of us aren't flying in that early. And then all the rest of the details about when you're going to get there, what you need to know, when the tour is, where you're supposed to meet. All of that information is available here. And remember, as you book excursions, that's going to be added to this as well. That's why you just saw this Tundra Wilderness Tour. That's an excursion that's included in our 12-day. Okay, but it's worth looking because a lot of this information, now that I've shown you where it is, a lot of this information, I'm just going to refer you back to the app in order to find it. So it's well worth looking all through it. Okay. If you're on the 7-day and you're coming in, obviously you won't see the green because that's the land package, but you'll be able to see right here. And that general port information that tells you how are you going to get from Anchorage to Whittier, all of those details, see the distances, know that it takes a while, and the tunnel is super important. So remember, transfers, I believe, are $59, and they might be a little more from Anchorage. We'll have to check that, but on average, they're about $59. So you want to make sure that you're planning ahead for those if transfers are not included, especially when you're doing Anchorage to Whittier, because that's a hike. And they also have a private tunnel, a one-lane tunnel that only opens and closes at certain times. But we'll talk about that more in our pre-trip classes. Just plan ahead for those. Okay, so just important things for you to note. Look, if you scroll down a little bit farther, it's going to tell you all of the documentation that you need for your cruise. And again, we'll go over a lot of this when we do our Princess class, pre-trip class. Payments, you won't find really any on file because we handle that for you through our agency, just PCI compliance issue there. But when you do start using the app and once you're on board, you could have your credit card on file with Princess and then make all your purchase direct that way. I believe when you check in with them, they require that. Okay. I see on here that they call them crew appreciation prepayments now, but this is prepaid gratuities basically. And I thought that was included in our package, so I need to do some checking on that for you. But if it is, usually you'll see that right on there. Okay, if you click on luggage tag and travel summary up here, remember that it's the documents don't really open until right before, like 75 days before. So you won't find them there, but this is where you'll eventually get it. And right here where you click print the travel summary, this is a great one to print, especially once you're holding flights and stuff, because it'll give you all of the information that we just looked at on the app in printed form, if you'd like to bring it back, bring it with you somewhere to check on it later. Okay, let's go to the travel tab. Let's say, and a lot of you are doing this right now, that you are looking at air and you want to figure out how to book your air. So a couple of different things. Remember that I will always, if you're on a group tour with me, I will always check for group flights. And what we're seeing right now, post-COVID, just coming out of this, is the group flights for most trips that I'm looking at is just not appealing, price-wise, schedule-wise, that sort of thing. It'll come back, but it's just not back yet. So I am recommending to you that you book your own air. And why I say that, especially on an Alaska trip, is because domestic air is the most common booking that most people do for themselves. And usually through a travel agency, we have to charge you a service fee in order to process that booking for you, because there isn't any commissions or payment included in the ticket coming from the airline. Pretty much all other travel includes that payment to the travel agency. That's why we don't have to charge you fees directly. But when we do have some type of a travel component that you'd like us to book for you, and it doesn't include that payment to the agency from the supplier, we have to charge what we call an agency fee. And for domestic fares, that can range anywhere from $50 to $75 per ticket, depending on the complexity of the booking and how much time the agent has to spend booking it for you. So booking and servicing it, because sometimes booking it's only 5 minutes, but servicing it, as we all know during COVID, sometimes can be weeks and weeks and weeks of work. So that's why we charge a fee for it. And that's why we encourage you to look at booking it yourself, because save us for the things that are a little more complicated that you really, you're thankful that we can take care of it for you. And if that's air, certainly let us know, and we're happy to run an invoice for you for that. So let's say we want to book flights ourselves. The very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to check on whatever your go-to is, whether that's Kayak or Google Flights or whatever your go-to place is. And remember that all different lines run to Alaska on this specific trip. So you want to make sure that you're checking all different lines and not just Delta or something like that. It really depends on where you're coming from and what's available. If you're booking it with points, just keep in mind that a lot of times your travel insurance will not reimburse you for points. It's just something that I like to point out to people, because I know a lot of people love using points, but points are not covered in the travel agency. They cover like the booking fee to re-put them back in, but they don't cover the points themselves. But whatever supplier you're using, and this goes for any trip that you're on, if you're booking your own air, it is always worth it to check with the supplier to see if they offer air, because all of us in the travel industry side, not all of us, but several of us, have what's called a wholesale contract with the airlines. And that wholesale contract allows us to see unpublished air prices. So, and let's use Princess as an example. They have a contract with all of the airlines that gives them special rates for cruising passengers. Our agency has that as well. So it doesn't matter what supplier you go with. If you're looking for international air because you're going on a cruise, whether or not you booked that cruise through us, you can have us check that wholesale fare for you. And what we find a lot of times, this might not be the case when we look at Princess now, because they're a direct supplier that you're buying those flights from at retail rates. But with us as a wholesale operator, we can, those flights, the same flight that you see on Google Flights or Kayak or whatever, that is, let's say it's $800, $1,200 if it's an international flight. A lot of times we can find that same exact flight, same itinerary, same everything for anywhere from $200 to $400 cheaper. So we've seen it for $50 cheaper. We've seen it for $100 cheaper. But just know that when they have the wholesale flights full back up and running, it's a great option to check with agencies that have wholesale access. So back to wholesale asset access, let's look at Princess. Very simple. When you log into Princess, and I hope every one of you does this because there are big benefits to it. Let's look at these right here. The top reasons to book flexible airs with Princess. Book now, pay later. We are going to go through this right now and actually hold a flight. Just hold a flight. And it says reserve them now and pay later when your cruise fare final payment is due, which for this Alaska tour is April 6th. No change fees. So it'll continue past that final payment date, and full refunds up until 45 days before your flight. So These are great benefits, benefits that we can't give you on our side. But again, the promotion for them, this is their wholesale side of their flights. And they're saying, book it with us. You know, we're going to throw in some really big perks for you, probably because of the volume of people they do it for. And it's well worth looking into. What I suggest is book it, but hold the flights with them. Even if you're looking at airfare and you're just testing it out and you're not really sure, just go ahead and hold the air. It's not that big of a deal at all. Now it's saying that these guys are Tampa guests because probably their base city was listed as Tampa, but they're actually in Boston. So what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down here. They're going to look for, I'm not a big fan of economy, so I'm going to move them to premium economy. And let me tell you why. Economy is a non-serviced class booking, which means even the airline doesn't service economy tickets. So, you know, you're kind of like at the bottom of the barrel. And when things happen, yes, there are definitely the cheap seats, but when things happen, economy tickets are a really tough one to have. So on the agency side of things, we normally stay away from economy tickets, okay? But we're going to change their departure city to Boston. That's where Sarah and Connor live. It'll automatically change over here. The dates are automatically queuing up to what the dates are on this actual trip. Now, if you contacted me, remember that your pre and post hotel stays and not excursions, but pre and post hotel stays are booked through the agency, us as the operators of this or the host of this trip. So you want to do that first. If you know you want to stay in Vancouver an extra night, you want to do that first. Let us get it on your booking, which will automatically update it here to the date of July 17th that you would be leaving, because that post night would be on there. Does that make sense? You want to make sure that all of your date changes are gone or have gone through me, so I can get it into that booking for you. So when you pull up your flights, it's going to automatically pull it up on the dates that you need to come and go. Okay. I just let the times do their thing. Don't even worry about it. It's basically just giving you a bigger window, and just go ahead and click search. Remember, these are premium economy tickets. And up comes some options for you. They'll always give you a lowest priced option. This one leaves at noon, gets in at 1:44 a.m., which sounds awful, but I can tell you that it's very common. A lot of the flights that you see coming in, other than some of the way more expensive ones, they're going to come in late at night. Okay. This one has 2 stops. You can click right here and pull down all the information on that specific flight schedule. All right. And then, and they're saying that we might not be able to get that class of service on it, but let's just say this is definitely the flight we want to go with because it's the least expensive. We're just going to select it. It says earliest recommended arrival time for Anchorage is 8 a.m. Excellent. So let's find another itinerary. Now, part of that is we're either going to find another itinerary here, or we're gonna look elsewhere, right, on Google or wherever. But you can see I don't do much with the restricted. Again, I wouldn't mess with the restricted because the whole purpose of booking with Princess would be for that flexibility. So let's see if they're saying different time. Let's see if we can go in here and give them. What time does this one get in? 10:30. Let's try this one. Okay, so this one is saying it leaves Boston at 9:05 and it gets in after 2 stops. Everybody's going to be doing a long day if you're coming from the East Coast. It gets in at 10:33 and we're going to go up to 8:60, which works. Let's try that. Oh, it's going to tell me that, hang on, I just said change flight when I didn't want to. Let's go back down and grab that one. If I can, let's see. Let's go back one. We're going to keep this one. And now we're going to do, we're going to pick the next one. So this one goes out at 11 at night. Most of the flights out of Vancouver are going out late, just so you know. And what this is telling you is it's going to be for that 860 fare they're faring right now. Any of these flights are going to work for that same amount. or we can do, you know, a little bit less time, probably better flight. You're going to add cost to it as you keep scrolling down. So let's pick one of these. These are pretty close. They're coming in almost exactly the same, but they're doing in descending order too. So see, this one is 11, just about 12 hours, not quite. And this one is a little bit more. Same price. Let's go with this one because they're getting in right around that same time as well. This one leaves a little bit earlier, but gets in at the same time, which actually might be better. So let's go ahead and do that here. Premium economy is generally only offered on long-haul international flights, so any domestics might be a standard economy. That's fine. Okay, so I can request seats here if I want to, but right now that's not really a great, you know, importance to me. I just want to make sure that I'm holding it. So look at, all we're doing is holding this ticket. We're not paying it at all, right? So let's go ahead and book now. It'll say you can change or cancel flights by May 20th to avoid any fees. And then let's see here. This is for them. So I'm going to hold those right now and just hit continue. And it won't let me. So let's see, let's opt out. And hit continue. Do they match your government ID? Yes and yes. You'll hear me ask you that a couple of times. Name change service fees will come up, acknowledge. And the importance of having all of this straight is because we really are holding that air, right? So we want to make sure the names are straight. We want to make sure it's the itinerary that you want, even if we can cancel it, because if the prices went sky high crazy, they're holding this for you at that $860 price, right? So you want to make sure that you're reading and understanding all of the terms and agreement. This is good to know. Canceling your cruise tour also cancels your air booking if it's made with them. That's another one of the big perks I like to tell my clients is that it's important for you to understand if you book with the supplier, when the trip cancels, so does the air. When you don't book with the supplier, it's separate air, right? A lot of these are not going to include bags, and that's important for you to know because it gets pricey, right? So just remember that as far as your bags go. We'll talk about bags more in the class. So all we've done in this example is we've held air with Princess. Go back to Google Flights, go back to Kayak, whatever it is that you use to book flights. Find out if you get a better fare. If you do get a better fare, just make sure you come back in by that date and cancel. Okay, just cancel it. Okay, so look at this. Between the time you've searched, there was a fare increase of $402. Okay, so I'm going to hit decline. Remember, this happens all the time. A lot of people get nervous and say, oh my goodness, I better book it right away. You certainly can book it right away, but usually I suggest that you decline, because remember that the airline systems are literally recording what's going on with your, how many times you're checking it, you know, so it'll bump the price up after a while. And many times what we see, you log out, you close out, you shut that computer down, you wait a couple of hours, log back in and do it again, and the price will usually come down. It's not always the case, but usually it will come down again. Okay, so that's your tour for, I'm just going to swap over to mine now, but that's your tour of princess.com, logging into the cruise planner that'll give you the cruise personalizer is what it's called, and all of the details that you need in relation to your booking. I hope you found that helpful, and please give us a thumbs up on the video and subscribe, and we'll give you some more videos in the future. Thanks, everybody.